What's going on?
Hey, Ryan, I'll start us off. Obviously, you guys pressured the heck out of Virginia, but that also means you got to trust your DBs in the back and some man coverage there. What makes Spoon and Quan especially so good in that and gives you so much trust in those guys?
Yeah, just like their attention to detail and consistency with which they play their techniques allows them to have success, snap in, snap out from a man coverage standpoint. They pay attention to splits and formations and kind of have an idea of what type of routes they're going to get. And as a result, I think they've been able to play consistently. So it allows us to be a little more aggressive.
What was the difference in you guys just being able to bring down the quarterback? Obviously, put a lot of pressure on Indiana, but to actually bring him down, what was the key to that?
Just the quarterback holding on to the ball, like letting us get there. The previous week, Connor did a good job of throwing the ball away at times. When we got there, and then obviously this week we were just able to get there a little bit quicker, to cover a little bit longer, and the quarterback just held the ball for half second longer than the guy did a week ago.
Thanks, Ryan.
Hey, Ryan. The last couple of weeks, Kendall's had what kind of looked like right place, right time, interceptions. But what is he doing before that, where maybe he's in the right place at the right time to make plays like that?
Yeah, he's just doing his job, within the framework of the scheme and the system. Obviously, he's getting a good beat on sort of the quarterback's operation and where they like to go, how they are trying to look us off, or are they staring at wideouts? What sort of operation does that quarterback have week in and week out? So he's been able to have his self be in position to make some of those plays. He's also dropped a couple of them. It's kind of gone on today. Really, I think he's got two. He should have about four of them right now.
I guess just Coach Bielema talked about how he didn't really even get off scout team until his fifth year. But just when did you maybe see, I don't know, something click for him where he showed that it was time to get him some reps at safety?
He was toward the end of the year last year. We kind of moved to that dime position on our third down package. Just a bigger body, bigger guy, and was covering well in the slot. With slot receivers or with tight ends. He made a couple plays in that Iowa game last year in our third down package, and just with his size and his physical skill set, coupled with his mental aptitude for a game, I thought maybe moving him to safety would be a good idea, and I'm glad we did, and glad that he was open to it, because I think his best ball is still ahead of him.
Thank you.
Ryan, maybe related to what Jeremy asked about, but Tony Elliott, leading up to the game last week, mentioned something about not a lot of teams are doing a lot of man, or maybe as much man as you guys are. What allows you to do so much of it and be effective? Is it your philosophy about it? Is it the personnel?
I think it's both. I think any scheme out there, you've got to be able to teach it and understand what the strengths and weaknesses of those schemes are, and address those things. And at the same time, like, you got to have players that are capable of running said scheme. And so I think there's a combination of both there. It happens to be what we do and what our guys are comfortable and good at. And they're playing fast and are coming up with answers in games to certain splits or stacks or bunches and things like that. So, really pleased with how they played Saturday, and we'll continue to get better.
Do you feel like you do maybe more than the average team in man?
I'm not so sure. Like, I don't spend a lot of time studying other teams' schemes. I just think how we're structuring what we do is kind of unique to us. I'll do like off-season studies on maybe what somebody's doing in the red zone, or I really like watching NFL tape to see what they're doing on third downs. But you look at that, and 85 to 90% of teams in the league on third downs are playing man. So, it's also what I was taught early on A lot of times, especially secondary guys will say, like, if you see the quarterback throw the ball, you're probably going to see it caught as well. Just basically saying, like, if you want tight windows, you play man coverage. And our guys have really embraced that mentality. Like, it is a mentally challenging thing to be able to play man coverage, snap in, snap out as much as we do. Just because it's pretty easy to see if you're successful or not from play to play, because everybody in the stands can tell you who you're responsible for. You know what I mean? But our guys do a good job of when we're not in man of disguising and making it look like we are. And I think they're just operating at an efficient level right now.
Thank you.
Hi, Coach. Three really intriguing freshmen, Gabe Ackus, the corner,
Tyson Rooks.
Tyson Rooks, right, and then Matthew Bailey in the back end there making plays. Any of this surprise you at all, or did you see this coming based on what they did in camp?
No, it definitely wasn't surprising. They're out there those three specifically are out there for a reason. It's because of what we've seen in practice and through fall camp. Gabe was a starter on our third down package week 1. You know what I mean? So obviously we saw some things there just in his one-on-one pass rush ability throughout practice, and Coach Kane's done a great job of catching him up to speed with the style with which we want him to play and the techniques with which we want him to play. Those guys are continuing to get better. There's still a lot of room for improvement there. But they are making plays for us, and we need them to do so in order to be the type of defense that I think we're capable of being.
Another younger player, not a freshman, but Kenan Odeluga got more snaps. I think I counted 24, 25 snaps for him. Can we expect that to continue to go up? And are there specific situations that you're getting him on the field for?
Yeah, he's another guy that has improved and definitely has some athletic ability and is explosive. And so again, we're just trying to get the right 11 in the right circumstances and the right situations in the game to give us a chance to be successful and hopefully win. And so you saw him out there in those situations, and he was able to operate and perform at a high level, which in turn allowed him to make plays individually and allowed us to make plays as a unit, which in turn helped us, be in a winner circle as a team.
Thank you.
And then Ryan, I guess I know if you look at the Virginia game last week and the year before, how validating or nice was it to see that difference in outcome from one year to the next, if that makes sense?
Yeah, obviously, I'll be lying to you if I didn't say it was gratifying, right? They handed it to us pretty good last year, specifically through the air. They got a lot of talented players. They got guys that are rated pretty high across the country and at quarterback and at wide receiver. And I think our guys kind of took that as a challenge. And what I was probably most pleased with is nobody tried to do something outside of themselves or outside the framework of the scheme and the system. Everybody just kind of did their job and took it personal to do that at a high level. And obviously there's things to clean up from the tape. There's some plays we left out there and some things we need to be more detailed on. But from the start to the finish, I thought they played the game the right way.
Thank you.
Hey, Ryan, follow up on Tyson. I mean, he got snaps. I know some of those came in the fourth quarter a little bit there, but over some guys we'd seen in the first 2 games, what has he done to put himself in that position to get those opportunities?
Just his practice habits. We are big believers in practice habits become game day reality. And so if he's making plays in practice, you deserve to have a chance to be out there and gain some experience. And obviously you see his frame. He's every bit of 6'4" and can move like a corner. So I think his ceiling is very high. He's obviously has a lot of potential, but potential is a scary word. It just means you're not as good as can be yet. And he's got a long ways to go in terms of that, but his ceiling is definitely high just because of his God-given ability. And he's been a guy that has embraced the process and wants to be good and wants to get better. And Coach Henry's done a good job of trying to catch him up to speed.
Thanks, Ryan.
Ryan, is CJ Hart somebody you've been able to move around a lot? I mean, it seems to me like you've had almost 3 of your quote unquote inside backers on the field a lot to, like you said, get your best 11 out there.
Well, it depends on the package. He's playing a specific role for us right now. And it just depends on the call and the package we have out there, based on what personnel offensively is out there and what the situation is down distance wise.
Is it something where you've been pleasantly surprised at how you've been able to, get guys in and out, whether it's Tyreek, Darkangelo, or him and in those spots?
Really those three guys you mentioned, it's unless we're getting a bigger personnel grouping, you can't have them all 3 out there at the same time. But they all 3 are deserving to be out there. So I think Coach Bruce has a good rotation going with those 3 guys to allow the game to sort of flow, through them and allow them to stay fresh and play, at a high level. And they are playing really well, all 3 of those guys. And I can never tell, which combo of the 3 are out there because they all are very similar and are performing at a high level.
Thanks, Ryan.